begin this episode with announcements. Good news from both of us. Chris, I would like you to elaborate on the fact that this podcast is now so important to pop culture that your advice has influenced the fate of Scandoval. Please elaborate for our listeners.
So, I mean, it really is like the thesis of our podcast is to help these people like get out of the bad press that they're in.
We're givers.
We are givers. And Howie Mandel, my nemesis, announces on some weird video with two people that I don't know that Tom Sandoval is coming on his podcast to give his side of the story, and only on his podcast, which is exactly the pitch that I gave Tom Sandoval to do to fix himself.
Now did you say Howie Mandel's podcast?
I didn't. I said like call her daddy or another adjacent podcast. Is Howie Mandel, my nemesis's podcast, the same? Debatable, but I'll take it.
What did Howie Mandel do to you, Chris, that he's your nemesis?
Well, how do I even explain this? Okay. A friend of mine was producing a TV show that was like for people, and it was a web-based show.
Okay.
And when they started doing it, they needed people to come in and like comment on pop culture. So
okay.
A few times I went on and being a guest, being like, okay, this happened on this show. Like, what's your take? Kind of like a talk soup, kind of like this. And there was a host named Lindsay Rodriguez, and there was like, my friend was producing it. Howie Mandel did a whole episode of this show with the host. And at the end of it, there was like, I think a thing about housewives and he didn't know it, or so I can't remember what the actual segment was, but it was like something he wouldn't be able to like comment on. So they brought me in at the very end. They were like, we just need you at the very end of the last segment of the show, because there's stuff that he doesn't know that we want to cover, so you can go on with him. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to say no to me and Howie Mandel like being, co-hosts.
Right. Best buds. Sure.
Best buds. So we get on the thing. I'm wearing a camo jacket, and like the first thing he says when we start, I'm freaking out. Oh my God, like a celebrity is in my midst. Like, haha, I have a joke. And then he makes a comment being like, I can't even see you because like I'm wearing camo, which then immediately made me just be like, okay, that wasn't even funny. And like, oh, really? And it kind of like took me out of the whole thing. And like, he wouldn't even let me speak at all. And so at the end, like,
okay, there is more than just that one remark.
No, yes. Okay. And then at the end of it, like, the host was like, Chris, what do you think? And I was like, I don't know. And I just didn't say anything because I felt like so defeated because he barely let me speak. And like everyone that watched it was like, wow, he was really mean to you. So now as much as he was nice in person, Howie Mandel, you are my nemesis.
Wow. Doesn't Howie Mandel, he has very bad OCD, right?
Yeah, we were told beforehand, like, he will not shake your hand. Just like he'll do a fist bump. And I was like, I'm just going to say, hi, it's nice to meet you. Like, I'm not going to try to do anything.
Right.
He was handsome in person, I will say.
Well, let's break into his home and put vinegar on the floor and olive oil on all the doorknobs. Human feces on the outside of his toilet when he goes in there.
That being said,
how's that for camo, Howie Mandel? You son of a bitch.
But now, like, look, they took my advice and...
Hey, should Howie Mandel be someone we fix on the show?
Maybe. And I have a personal vendetta against him, and that's
maybe he should be the first celebrity we have on live and do like a live fixing.
People have said, like, you should bring someone on live and try to fix them live. And I said...
Why not?
I was like, we'll get there, but maybe we shouldn't. I'd be like, do you remember me? And he's going to be like, no.
Well, you ruined my life.
Yeah, and he's going to be like, I don't remember even doing that thing that you're talking about. So obviously I get this news from, our Vanderpump Rules correspondent, Miss Erin Bagwell, our guest for the Scandal episode. And she did listen to the entire interview and did give me spark notes. None of the things that I said that he should say in the interview are things that he said in the interview. But nevertheless, he still did what I said he should do. So I think it's a win.
And you all should go to Erin Bagwell's Instagram, where she has reels of the crib notes on the Tom and Howie Mandel interview. And it does he does answer many questions that
we
people
had.
had. He's
Yeah.
almost a semi-sympathetic figure now at this point.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if I could talk about
It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. However, listen, we're taking a win where we can get it. He did what I said.
He
hello?
did.
This podcast is helping people. That's what I'm saying.
That's literally your first real life win.
No, for real.
Mhm.
So
my dad texted me after he listened to our Scandival episode.
Oh, because we didn't say this, but your parents are basically like the
Vanderpump
authority,
stance. Like
the authority.
They're in their 70s and they are like their knowledge. We should have had them on along with Aaron because their knowledge of the show is encyclopedic. And for my dad to text me and be like, Tom and Ariana, it is well known that they have had an open relationship for a very long time. In fact, and this is a direct quote, Ariana went down on, who was it? Was it Lala? While Tom was in the car, Ariana went down on Lala and I quote, mowed her lawn in front of him.
Forgot he said that to you.
Yeah. We're going to have him. He is dying to come on. He might be too vulgar. I mean, honestly, I don't want, he might be too vulgar.
Dom,
he's very unfiltered.
The fact that you've said this to me. Oh, I can only imagine where you got it from, by the way.
I'm literally the toned down version of him.
The fact that you've held this for me, that your dad wants to come on our podcast, I will have him on right now. Like, we can just do a whole nother episode. I will literally shut this shit down and just start up a whole nother episode right now to do it.
He would love it.
Okay, so that's in the works. We have more, but okay, so I'm just saving people's lives. Tom Sandoval, you're welcome. Dom, you also have news.
I'm also saving lives through live performance and laughter, Chris. My Pride show is coming up. I will talk more about it on next week's installment, but it will be on June 16th and June 22nd at the Cutting Room here in New York City. It is the thing that I am proudest of ever. The stage show I think that I'm the proudest to have written and put together. It is a ridiculous account of my coming out, because to meet me for 2 seconds is to think, why would this person have to go through the trouble of coming out? All he does is just get out of the car and, speaking visually, whatever. So it's sort of that whole journey, and it's funny. And, I wasn't going to do a Pride show this year, but then all of this shit just started happening with all of this anti-queer legislation. And I'm very, I'm of an age where I still believe it is my responsibility to represent and talk to people about my experiences and why it does actually get better and why we will just keep winning. The queer movement is not a train that goes in reverse. Trains only go forward. And I used a train analogy, which means we were like moments away from inventing some sort of sports thing that I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, this is going to be an unsubscribe. I'm keeping all this in. I don't think I've seen this show of yours.
You have not. It's brand new. It's brand new.
I thought it was one that you did already.
It was based on a show I had done several years ago. That's sort of the skeleton of the show, but this one, music, I'll have a little band with me, a pianist. It's going to be a real key. And if I can find the outfit that I want for this, because I already know what I want, and I'm trying to find someone who can give it to me. If I can find this outfit, I'm telling you, it would be a legendary amount of cleavage on a New York stage. That's all I'm going to say to you. Yes.
Wow.
Mine.
Okay.
Mine.
I will tell you. Okay. Yeah. I will tell you as an audience member of multiple shows from Sir Dominick Pupa.
You almost said Miss.
I almost said Miss or Ma'am. Yeah. Doubled over in laughter, face hurting, like peeing pants. You are so funny, and I'm not just doing this to be like blah blah blah, but like truly, it is must see TV is what it is. If you have the opportunity to go to this show, please go. You will see me shooting tears and throwing up from laughing so hard, but like you really are so funny, and it truly, truly is going to be a night to remember.
Well, I love you, and I love that very kind review. And I've been telling anyone who will listen, like, if you are not a fan of mine, you should come to the show to meet Chris DeRosa from Fixing Famous People.
You're not. You have not
He's
said this
Howie
one person.
Mandel's best friend. I want Howie Mandel to open for me at the cutting room this June.
The cutting room.
Well, listen, I mean, as much as we might want to shit on Howie Mandel, he must be given flowers for really playing a part.
No, you're right. What am I doing?
In introducing the world to Dame Meghan Markle, who is a personal hero of Fixing Famous People.
That is true.
I'm not trying to soften
you're right,
him.
because of Deal or No Deal. I was like, wait, what happened?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Howie Mandel's actually her biological father.
No, I was like, did he like have her on a show? And I was like, oh no, wait, actually, yes, like it was Deal or No Deal.
Yes,
she was a case for
she
girl.
opened many a suitcase at his demand on the NBC show.
So funny. You're right. Wow, things really do come full circle, don't they?
They really do. Your worst enemy is
My
actually
nemesis.
one of your saviors.
Wait, you know that's a Jenna Maroney. You know I say it because of the Jenna Maroney quote whenever Liz goes, Jenna, if you don't want to come out of your dressing room, I know Jenny McCarthy's available. And she rips the door open and goes, my nemesis.
I did not know that's where that came from.
Yes.
Oh, I love 30 Rock.
Goodness. No, you know that I do too.
Yeah.
You know that I'm a linorama of Jenna Maroney.
What did she say to the woman whose apartment
we literally did this already
on the podcast?
I don't know. I can't remember, but literally the woman is like,
ancient bitch.
Yeah, she goes, oh, like, hey, Mrs. Whatever. But she goes, oh no, my heart, it's getting stronger. And she goes, you ancient bitch. And then it cuts back to whatever scene it was.
It's my favorite. I mean, I have many favorite moments on that show. That's absolutely top 5. That little 5-second exchange.
So funny. I think we did this because then the next one that I said, I literally say my favorite one is whenever she said, no, we did it off. We did not record this. That's what it was.
No, we'll leave that in though.
My favorite is whenever Liz is trying to make Jenna like be young, but Jenna thinks that like being old is now chic and hot, so she like planted a story that she was like 65. So then Liz plans a story that she's like 12, and so she's like, Liz, whoever planted this story, I'm gonna do what I did to my own ribs, take them out.
It is one of the great crimes of the 21st century that Jane Krakowski did not win an Emmy for her work on 30 Rock. It doesn't even make sense to me.
You know that I worked with her once and was completely starstruck and could not even say hello to her because I was so starstruck by her. And she was talking about, because someone else brought up like an Emmy nomination and they were like, yeah, I got nominated for a bunch of things, but I never won. And she's like, yeah, and it never gets easier. And she like was like, she definitely like, and I was like, I love you. And my boss was like, get out of this room because you are scaring everyone. And I was
she has won a Tony though. She did win a Tony for Grand Hotel, which I saw her in, which literally before you were born. How many times do you think,
really?
Do you think that our listeners are going to say every time Dominick says before you were born to Chris that we take a shot?
They should.
What year was
most
it?
Was
it
really
references.
before I was born? Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I mean, Grand Hotel was like 1990.
I would have been like a babe or literally a fetus.
Yeah. I knew Jane Krakowski from, she was a teenager on a soap that my grandmother used to watch called Search for Tomorrow. And she played the troubled teen, the scheming troubled teen.
Wait, that's so fun.
The character's name was TR.
Wait,
don't know. I can't. It was literally TR. Stood for like Teresa Rose.
I'm sorry. Where's Jane Krakowski's memoir?
Oh, that's a really good one. I don't. It has to be en route, right?
Where is it? Where is it? Do we get to her? Where is it?
Maybe let's not just fix people who are in trouble. Let's also just send emails to Jane Krakowski saying, write a memoir. You're welcome.
Please write a memoir. Hi, please write a memoir. Thank you.
You ancient bitch.
You ancient bitch. Where's her memoir? Should I start taking to Instagram and talking about this? She needs to write a memoir.
Why not?
I need to hear about TR in, what was it? Search for Tomorrow?
Search for Tomorrow.
Oh, I was right.
It was search for Did you get? You just thought of the cheesiest three words you could.
I guessed.
The other side of midnight.
Where's her memoir? Should I end the show like that now?
Instead of, you did say it the same way as Where's Shelley.
No, but I feel it the same way. My emotion of it is the same.
Oh, speaking of
Where's Shelley?
Us, our favorite
Speaking
topic.
of
Speaking
Scientology.
Of us. No, speaking of us meeting this podcast, I want to address something that several people have mentioned about it. Do you know what I'm going to say right now?
No, because there's too many things I'm thinking about.
Apparently, you more than me, but now increasingly me, are and I'm using the words of someone who texted me this, are abusing the word literally.
Literally. Yeah, I say it all the time. I'm aware. I hear it. I edit the podcast. I hear myself. I know.
Well, I don't, I want to make sure that we are appeasing the people that are loyal to us. And I never think that we're above being fixed ourselves. So I'm not going to tell you what to do, but at least for me, rather than say that, I'm going to use the word clitorally from now on. And I hope that everyone enjoys it.
That actually, I think, will help me to not say it. Because it will change the word in my head. But I will tell you that every single person that is the same age as me uses the word literally as a filler word or as a way to, much like, which I say all the time as well.
Sure.
Those two words especially are two filler words that I will lean on till the day that I die, because
it also rubs off.
Millennial.
Are you a millennial? I guess you are technically. Yeah.
I'm like smacked out. I'm like born and bred millennial.
I listened to our earlier episodes and I hear you doing it. And then I listen to more recent episodes. I'm like, oh, wow, I'm doing it too. I'm in my mid 70s and I'm still susceptible to the people around me instantly. No, I want to do exactly what Jenna Maroney did. I want people to think that I'm in my mid 70s. And so when they see me in person, they'll be like, oh, you're really 65. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm not 65, people. Please don't come up to me and say you look good for 65 because
I'm going to
throw
say
myself on the track of the age.
I should introduce you.
That's scandalous.
I'm literally already putting myself in your show. I should introduce you and say, this is the most beautiful 65-year-old you've ever seen. And so many people would be like, what the fuck are you doing? Get off the stage.
I will have Howie Mandel surprise you, come out and push you off the stage.
Please do.
And just to be bitter about it, I'm going to make sure he is in head-to-toe camo, so you won't even be able to see him
I won't even be able to see him coming. Wow, what a callback.
It's the comedy genius. That's why everyone doesn't know who the fuck I am.
I mean, I feel like it's time for us to get to our client and our guest.
Let's get into it.
This is a good one. This is someone I've been wanting. This is someone who when we were thinking of the idea for this podcast, this person is at the top of a list. It's,
That is true. I mean, she was literally in the first 5 names of people that we wanted to do.
And I'm chomping at the bit. I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot to get into with this one.
This is your gal, this one right here. She is absolutely, you do talk about her
a lot.
I mean, more than the press does at this point. You are sort of her hype man.
100% correct. All right, let's just get to it. Okay, we have the montage queen herself. She's a director of stage and screen, an actor of stage and screen. I met her through DMs about The Real Housewives of New York. She is, if you ever listen to Bitch Sesh, a gem, a crown jewel of that podcast. She is Miss Deanna Cheng. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to have you.
Chris, we've really dealt with each other on those DMs, and thank God. I mean, it's so natural. I feel like you and Dominick and I have all been best buds prior to this moment.
Anyone that meets through DMs about The Real Housewives of New York, that's a marriage. Yeah. That's a lifelong commitment right there.
I mean,
that's right.
Deanna and I have sent minutes long voice notes to each other. We basically have had phone conversations without being on the phone together. It's not even just oh, haha, this is funny. We're unpacking people, things, places, tragedies. So
Yeah, have
and
to.
yeah, and we're about to do another one right now. Should we just dive into it? I think we should.
Well, sure.
Yes. We always like to tell the listeners who, like, which of the two of us put the name on the list. And this was,
Okay.
while she was an obsession of mine, a mild one, this is, she is Chris's a reason for waking up in the morning. I'm not even going to exaggerate.
Yeah.
It is not an exaggeration.
Okay, so I'm gonna go through the whole situation. I took a lot of this from an insider article written by Kim Renfro and Tyler S. Mitchell. In December 2020, this Twitter thread that has now been deleted basically claimed that Hilaria Baldwin, wife of famous actor Alec Baldwin, had been misleading the public to believe that she was from Spain for nearly a decade. They basically said it's funny that for a decade she has been like cosplaying as an Spanish person. She'd previously stated that she was born in Boston and that she spent her time growing up in Spain and in Boston. And so the thing about her is that she basically like doesn't, for the most part, doesn't actually lie about anything. She just like allows other people to like run with this like assumption about her that is wrong and doesn't correct them. And so like a lot of her like crimes are like in not correcting people when they like attribute things to her that are wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So
and not just Spain, by the way. It's not just Spain. It's Mallorca. Sorry,
yeah. So basically her birth name is Hillary Thomas. She referred to Spain as her home. Once all this comes out, she does a New York Times article and she defends herself saying that home is where her parents lived, and if they moved to China, that she would refer to China as her home. Which, like, do any of you, like, my parents don't live in the place that I grew up anymore. Like, I don't refer to that as my home. It's not my home. It's their home.
Well, yeah, and you don't, change your name when your parents make a move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't forget how to pronounce cucumber when your parents make a move. How you say cucumber?
Because she's just not correcting people, or that's what she would say. But
yeah.
she's a she grew up fair-haired, fair-skinned, and she is not that any longer. Which, we're not appearance shaming or anything like that, but I don't think this was just, hey, I need a makeover. This was a race over, basically.
Yeah.
Like that's what
it was a race over.
Yeah.
Okay, so she marries Alec Baldwin in 2012. The New York Times reports her name as Hilaria Lynn Thomas. Excuse me, Hilaria Lynn Thomas, which she's told the New York Times that's how you pronounce it. A People magazine story at the time said she wore a Spanish veil and said, "I liked that I brought a bit of my culture." She told Vanity Fair España that her family couldn't pronounce her new surname, Baldwin.
Oh, Lord.
She Can you just read that one again? Because it is, I have not heard that before, and that takes it. That's the popper.
She told Vanity Fair España that her family couldn't pronounce her new surname, Baldwin.
I just want to breathe in that.
Yeah.
That bullshit. It's just so good.
This is where she starts to get a little like testing the waters. You know what I mean?
I'll say.
She soon appears on Good Morning America with a distinct accent and creates an Instagram account that often has captions in both English and Spanish. When questioned on Twitter, she admits that she was born in Boston and spent much of her childhood there. Alec, this is a big one that I did not know. Alec then goes on the Late Late Show with David Letterman in April of 2013 and says that his wife is from Spain and then he does an imitation of her accent. He basically says like, my wife is from Spain. And so I think that is where, again, like he legitimizes her as like a celebrity, but I think also too, like it's not her, she didn't say it. And
well,
so
she did say it at some point. Yeah. She did say to Alec Baldwin at some point, "I'm from Spain." Do you think that, like, I mean, this was, you don't think that the grift was happening?
No, I think the grift happened and he like got caught up in it. And then as this comes out in 2020, he's like, what? And like has to then pretend like he knew the whole time is what I think happened. Are we in agreement on that?
You're saying that he knew that she wasn't from Spain?
He did not know until like the Twitterverse until the like American culture told him that she was not. from Spain.
And so so you think that at a certain point in their marriage, after they'd already had several children,
Yeah, it's like 3
that he reads this
Baldwinitos
Times
exist.
article,
Yeah.
comes home one day and says, "What the fuck?" And she just says, "I am sorry, my name's Hillary." You think that's
No,
how it went?
I actually do. Is that bad that I really think that that's what happened?
I don't know if it's bad. I hope that that's the truth. I think it's fantastic. I think it's fantastic.
He's an interesting bird. And I feel like he probably didn't ask a lot of hard-hitting questions
No, correct.
to this woman. I think
Yes.
she seems to be in service to him in many ways. Like there's certain men, he's not looking for like a businesswoman who has her own company, and he wants somebody who's going to take care of him and look good. And I think she does seem to have like a lovely personality. I'm sure she's got a je ne sais quoi to her, and I think
Sure
it
does.
all worked.
Oh,
And
she's
so
beautiful.
Alec Baldwin on late night television was a huge moment in the development of this public persona of Hilaria. His legitimizing it was that, and the cucumber were the watershed moments. in this
yeah,
room.
the cucumber was really something. If you haven't watched the cucumber, how you say cucumber,
It's in the, don't worry, we're getting there. Don't worry.
do we have drops? Like, it's so important.
No, it is. We might need to put
We
the
might need a
audio
drop.
in. But yeah, oh wait, I forgot that they met at Pure Food and Wine. It's literally so great. Like, that is like, of course that's where they met. And she was like trolling for men there, probably.
She knew there's something about it that it just feels like they both were in a perfect time in their lives to connect and be weird together,
Yeah. Okay, so then, like, after she starts to become, like, famous as Alec Baldwin's wife, basically, a lot of these media outlets begin to write stories and posts about Hilaria, calling her things like a woman from Spain, growing up between Boston and Spain, Spanish-American, and a Spanish-born beauty. And most of these stories, like, as to date, like, don't have corrections issued, which means that, like, she didn't reach out to them and say, hey, this isn't right. Or, like, they haven't, like, deemed that as, like, incorrect information that they were sharing. Which again is like not on her, but it's like not on her. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's similar to like a George Santos. Like, I didn't say I was Jewish. I said I was Jew-ish. Like,
Right.
She's like catching him on a technicality and being like, no, which
well,
I
it's
think
like
is
a game of chicken. Anyone who before the revelation, anyone who said that she was Spanish would look foolish for not having asked maybe one person outside of her if this was accurate information. So it's a game of chicken because they're like, well, I'm not going to look that stupid. And then she's thinking to herself, well, I'm certainly not going to call anyone and say, oh, you got my race wrong in this article. Sorry if I misled you.
Yeah. She then keeps getting like, she gets on like 15 best dressed Latina stars of the week and like on articles.
I cannot.
So crazy.
She hosts an event for Hola magazine. They write, and that magazine writes a profile on the Baldwins, and they say that she was born in Spain and that Spanish is her native language. And they issued a correction once like all of the drama happened. But like up until then, apparently it had not. She then refused to give the writer from Vanity Fair, España, any of her biological information.
Yeah, that's not help. Yeah. Like, she can't be giving biological information out. That won't help her.
That's a red flag.
But then basically in 2014, her parents make this website and they basically like talk about their life and like where they lived and all this stuff. And basically there's all this information that like her mom worked in Massachusetts from 1992 until 2012. Her dad said like, he was greatly influenced by Spanish culture, but not because I have an iota of Spanish blood in my veins. And he mentions that he lives in Mallorca now, but like like I do believe the story that like they did spend a lot of time in Spain, that her parents really liked like Spain. They spoke Spanish together in the house. Like I do understand that like she is immersed in Spanish culture, but basically like there's all this information on like coming from her parents that refute that she is like truly Spanish. And then here we get to the infamous clip of Hilaria on the Today Show alongside Telemundo host Evie Siskos, where she demonstrates how to make an authentic gazpacho. She speaks in a very heavy accent and forgets the English word for cucumber. Later, she says that it was because she was nervous of being on TV and it was a brain fart. Now,
Girl.
Deanna, go the cucumber.
Girl,
Go, tell me.
come on. It's just, I think you're being very generous in talking about her being immersed in Spanish culture. All of that's great,
Yeah.
It is hard to be regular. It is hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to not be special, And being great at yoga is not going to cut it.
No,
We
it's not.
gotta
Not anymore.
add some things on,
I'm dead.
So
I'm dead.
I just I think that at some point her having her family loving Spain and enjoying the culture just went left, and I would give anything to know what that moment was for her, where she had a little accent or she said something in some kind of way that piqued someone's interest. I mean, I feel like there is a moment in her life that happened where she got attention for being misunderstood to be Spanish and from Spain. And I think she just felt special. She felt different. And she was like, this is it. I can't ever stop feeling this way.
I know exactly when it was. She went in high school to Spain. She immersed herself in the thing. Also, went to Spain for the summer. School's out. She went to Spain. She was making out with Spanish boys. She's speaking fluent Spanish. She's getting you know what I mean? She's eating the food. She's doing all the stuff that we think of in a movie, in a rom-com where this girl in high school goes and she's going to make out with Spanish boys and do all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She comes back to school in Boston, Massachusetts.
Right.
And they say, what did you do this summer? And she literally whips around and is like, pero no. Oh, sorry. Oops. Oh, I actually was in Spain all summer. And people were fucking jizzing their pants over that. And every guy was chasing her. And then she was like, I am Spanish. And even so, and basically a lot of the people she went to high school with, they were she was obsessed with wanting to be Spanish.
So crazy.
No, I co-sign any sort of theory that comes with I'm going to change my personality in order to get better dick. That had to play into this at some point.
Yeah.
It had to. We've all been there. Well, some of us have been there on more than one occasion. And it's I just don't know that I would let it shape my entire life. And what I also want to comment on as well is that I love that her parents are part of the unraveling. In all of these cases, it's the people's, and we're going to talk about Rachel Dolezal in a few weeks on Fixing Famous People, but the fact that the parents were sort of unwittingly revealing their lives, and it contributed to her downfall, because her parents aren't just Caucasian. They're prototype Caucasians, Boston, Harvard educated, making sure they back up from it when they say, not that there's a drop of Spanish blood in my body. They were incredibly, she's got a brother named Jeremy. It's they're getting whiter. The more we talk about it, the whiter she's getting. They do
get whiter. They do. And her children, with love, do they look like either of them? I am so confused, and I understand she's darkened her hair, but let's put that over to the side.
Mm-hmm.
This army of children, to me,
army
look
is the
nothing
right.
either of them. I'm like, who are they? They look like each other, but to me, I don't see either of them in these children.
They're blonde.
And I'm just going to put that to the side.
Blonde. P.S. The kids are
heads.
And this is where the story gets, I don't want to say sinister, but it's a little bit if you're going to pretend to be this person, okay. Even if your husband goes on a late night show and lies about your race, it's you know what? You're in show business. You all live in a dream world anyway. Just say whatever the fuck you want. We're going to laugh at it and be done with it. But then they have all of these children, and they start naming them Rafael and Eduardo. And it's this is where you're what's going on in your brain
Right.
that you have to take this, so you fucked up on the Today Show and you said cucumber. Why are you naming your children something that is not their heritage? That's when it seemed sort of very deliberate. Like, it didn't seem at that point that it went left. It seemed like I'm driving this bus.
No, I'm
and
tripling down on this.
I'm going to dye my children's hair black if people don't stop asking me all of these questions. And I'm going to try to gaslight the planet by giving them these Latinx names, and none of them, not even a little bit, could be mistaken for anything other than the most
White.
Caucasian Caucasians.
I'm looking at a picture of them right now, and it's shocking. It's also like Alec is 64.
No,
and
yes.
What's happening? There was a pile up. At one point, one baby came out, and then months later, another baby was there. I'm like, this is something's happening. That's just, they're literally piling up. And she had a baby. There's just so many children.
No, you can't keep them straight.
And she had a baby in her arms, and literally months later, an additional baby was presented. Now, that baby did not come out of her. That was a surrogate baby.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's great. It's amazing. Except for the fact that her husband is 64 years old. And that is the patriarchy, guys. Like, the fact that we aren't spinning around in a circle questioning Alec Baldwin having a pile up of babies in his mid to late 60s, that's strange.
One time, this was like right when I moved to New York City, and he was so it would have actually been like 2013, 14, like it would have been like 2014 probably.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the Upper West Side, I want to say, and I saw him walking down the street. It was like summer, so he's just in like a t-shirt, looking horrible. He has his two of the original Baldwinitos, like the older ones now. And he was just walking down the street with his two kids in like a little play car. And when I tell you, he looked fucking miserable.
Of course.
Miserable.
He has
older.
8 children.
Yeah.
It's too much.
He can't stop working. He has to feed 8 children, and he's going to be dead decades before their mother's going to be. I would look miserable too.
Are you guys both from Long Island? Are we all from Long Island here?
No, I'm not.
I am from Long Island, yeah.
Okay. Dominic, I felt you were from Long Island. And Chris, I thought maybe you were.
No, people often say that, but I'm not.
Okay.
A lot of people think I'm Amy Fisher when they meet me. That's why.
I will say, being as someone from Long Island, there's also, we have to push against our natural instincts, which is to be too much.
That's really funny.
Do either of you do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
How dare you?
You can't help it. So you want the person who's pretending to be Spanish because it's exciting. Like, you want frost in your hair. You want stuff sparkly. You want your coffee cup to be bedazzled. You want extra blonde stripes that look like stripes that are frosted in your hair. You want it. It takes other people and restraint to not go for cheesy, over the top things. And I also feel like that is part of why he finds his way into all of this.
Yeah, the drama, like drama. All the hullabaloo.
The hullabaloo.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to fight.
When he's like, sure, let's have 2 kids at the same time. Like, right?
Right.
Like, to your point, like, he's ready to like, just like, be like, get this surrogate fired up. Like, you're pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, there could be, you know what I mean? It's like, let's like, they got multiple pots on the stove. Like, he's like, there he is.
There he is. He can't pull back.
No, it's compulsive. It's not, it's all, you don't want to say that he can't help it, but what you're saying is, first of all, fucking hilarious about Long Island. It's like, I'm going to use that with my husband all the, like 5 minutes when we're done here. I'm just going to say, I can't help any of this. I'm from Long Island. Like, I'm going to use that forever. That's what I took from your
It's
Well,
discussion.
it's
so
the
funny.
truth. You
It
know, when
is.
you
No, it
look at
is.
the
Yeah.
It
Long
is.
Island stars, it's like we see, you know, when you see them acting up, you know it is their nature. They
Mhm.
can't really, it takes a lot to fight it. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard not to do too much.
Hilaria is from Boston, another place of like people with a lot of energy that are very loud, that are, you know what I mean? It's like a stereotypical person's very loud. They're very like in your face. Like,
You know what I'm actually realizing when you just said that she's from Boston in a different way than being in New York City. When I'm in Boston, I do feel that there's a very white. Do you guys agree with that? You just feel like it's
yeah.
very Caucasian and not
Yes.
a lot of diversity. That's not built on facts. That's just a feeling. I
That's on
don't
vibes.
actually know
Built
what
on vibes.
the numbers are, but going on vibes, I'm always like, wow, it's aggressively Caucasian here.
Mhm.
And I think that, you know, you, to your point, even her traveling to somewhere like Spain was so exotic, most
Yeah.
likely,
Yes.
to everyone around her.
I don't know if she was pretending to be. Do we know if she was pretending to be of Latin descent before she met him and became a public figure? Because these yoga studios were already, she was already a business owner and kicking ass before she met Alec Baldwin. It's not like he met her, gave her all this money, and turned her into something. She was already kicking ass before. So I'm not trying to say like she didn't need to do this, but she didn't need to do this. You know,
I
it's
didn't
not.
think
It's
she need.
not
I think that their relationship was predicated upon a lie. I think that she's on the phone with someone in Spain. She's like, "Hello, blah blah." You know what I mean? She's like speaking Spanish to them, and he's like, "Oh my god, like this beautiful like Spanish like Lolita that I'm about to get." And then literally she was like, "Oh wait, he thinks I'm Spanish," and then I think she went with it. And I think again, she never said anything, but I think he saw like. They're in Pure Food and Wine. They're chatting. She's talking to her friend in Spanish. He comes up to them. He's a famous A-list actor. He's like, you know what I mean? And then they're all speaking Spanish. He thinks she's beautiful. Where did you grow up? Oh, in Spain. He just hears Spain. He doesn't hear Boston. Like, I think exactly what you're saying is what I that's all this is allegedly, and like
right.
just my imagination. But like, why not? The most egregious of all this is that she then makes this post one day saying that she is multi and that basically she is like fluid, and she says when you are multi it can feel hard to belong, and that nothing inside you can truly exist in a segregated environment, and you don't need to explain or get into the uncomfortable prove it conversation. You don't owe that to anyone. We need to normalize the fact that we are all unique. Our culture, languages, sexual orientations, religions, political beliefs are allowed to be fluid, all caps. No two of us are completely alike.
I need a nap.
That's kind of where the story ends, in the sense of like her talking about her like her ethnicity. But I think that's the most egregious of all of them, because I feel like she's very likening herself to like trans people, non-binary, like people, you know
100%.
what I mean? Like, and it's like, you're none of those things. Like, don't you
No,
fucking dare. And
you
to go
don't
back
get
to,
to do that.
yeah,
You don't
no, like
get to
at
do
all.
that.
Like at all.
That speech makes her almost not redeemable. You know, it makes our job harder because you look for that little grain in there where it's like, well, you know, are you going to be willing to admit your mistakes? That's a whole speech of I'm this kind of douchebag and I'm actually
Right.
not going to.
Because it would be nice, you know, to anyone out there who's actually Latinx, who's, you know, had their journey in this life and she has stolen that for her own, and it's not okay, you know. So if she had one moment of humility in there where she said, you know, I actually feel like I let things go a little too far, and for that I'm sorry, you know, that would be
Yeah.
helpful. But instead it's all of our fault that we have an opinion on her and her silliness.
And the other thing is like, just say like, Yeah, it's exactly what you said, Deanna. Like literally one sentence that says like, "Hey, I might have taken things a little too far." That goes miles and miles and miles and miles. Correct?
It does. And in the that's where, I wonder if psychologists have weighed in, because to go so hard when we have the World Wide Web, and you went to high school with people and you went to college with people, it's just fascinating. There's something in there that feels like, well, that's got to be some sort of condition on top of.
You knew how did this story end for you?
Right.
How did you think this was going to end? And it didn't. It ended with her pointing the finger at us. It's our
Yeah,
it's our
why
fault.
am I in trouble for your weird behavior?
Yeah, no, like literally.
I would love to know if she prepared that cucumber thing prior.
too.
I think she probably did, guys. I think that was a plan. There's
think it
just
was
no
too.
way there wasn't. That she was like, I'm gonna forget. It's so much fun to be from Spain that I'm going to forget the name of this basic vegetable when I get out there.
That I have chosen to use in this demonstration.
Right. Yeah, they didn't fling a
Right?
cucumber
Like,
at her.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
A mystery veg.
No, it was it was part of it wasn't the first time she was seeing it. Like she knew exactly what was going to happen.
Correct. I mean, yeah, if it was like, even if it was pomegranate, that's you're not always around a pomegranate, but cucumber.
I know.
Okay, I think we should. I mean, how do we fix her? That's the question.
Oh
God.
boy.
Here's my pitch. And I know that like this show is slowly going to just devolve into like, you should do a reality show. Like that's going to be one of our pitches every single time. I feel like for every person, but it's always right.
It's all, yeah, right. It's always the right path. Whether you choose it or not is up to you.
Yeah. This is this reality show that they are going to do. They are going to do the Baldwinitos Take Majorca.
I can.
You know this is right. You know that I'm right.
Oh my God.
It's already set up. They are going to take cameras with them. We are going to see Hilaria. We're going to see the 9,000 children and Alec Baldwin get on a plane. Okay. They are going to go to Majorca. They are going to go to her family's house. They are going to see all of her family members. Something I didn't put in something that was in a lot of the documents that I read about her transgressions, where like she said, like there were 40 people from my family in Spain that came over. We're going to see every single one of those 40 people. We're going to see her parents. We're going to see them speak in Spanish to each other. We're going to subtitle whatever we need to. We're never going to, you know what I mean? It's like, there's no like everyone speaking English because we're here. I want a minimum 6 episode show where they just go to Spain and let it rip. Do whatever they do. We're going to see her meet up with her friends. We're going to see her meet up with like, oh, remember when I was in high school and I would come here to this place? Oh my God, the owner is my friend her mom owned this place when we were 16. She goes in, they have dinner. Alec Baldwin's there. Everyone's so excited. They're talking. They're like, oh my God, I remember when you came over here from Boston for the summers and we would have so much fun. It's like the fucking I'm proving this to everyone and go fuck yourself tour of Hilaria Baldwin, where she literally just like lives it up in Spain. We see that she lives there. We see their home. We see their life. We see Alec being like a bloated mess on the bed you know what I mean? What's he doing? We see the nannies. We see all the help they have. We see everything.
I mean, I don't hate it. I don't know what you got there, Dominic, but that's pretty good.
It's not, I mean, as usual, it's not as reasonable or colorful as Chris's idea, but she doesn't get out of this without leaning into it to me and saying like, you know what? I'm a fucking idiot. I mean, that's all you ever really want people in trouble to say is just to look in the camera. You know what? I'm a fucking idiot. I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought the world was stupid enough to believe this, and you weren't. I'm busted. Can you imagine someone would say that they were a race when the thousands of people they grew up with are there to verify that I'm lying? So it's, not those exact words, but the only way she needs to lean into what she knows, just fitness and cooking And I mean, I've already had enough of the children. Children are not my thing anyway. So whatever we do, the children cannot be a part of it moving forward for me, because I've had. Her kids should be allowed, by the way, to change their names when they become a certain
They're going to have to
age,
remove
like,
some accents.
yeah,
Yeah.
for their
Yeah,
16th
yeah.
birthday. It's just like, my name is Raphael, but you honestly just please call me Will
Ralph.
for the rest
Right,
of
Ralph.
my life.
'cause you
Yeah,
guys
like,
are-
Ralph is good.
Weird, and you didn't figure, and you let the grift flow over to my name, and that's not cool.
No, they've made scarred for life, literally, like for life. So they need to stop that. But the pitch really is for me just to have her on a show called I Wish I Was That, to let you know it's okay to be imaginative. It is okay to appreciate other cultures. You just can't lie about being one. Sort of like, own the mistake, learn about other cultures. It's a little, may he rest, but a little Bourdain-ish, a little bit, where we're just going to different places with someone. Maybe it's someone who appreciates, some sort of European, let's pick any European culture, and they've just always wanted to go there. You bring them there. Hilaria brings them there and immerses them in the culture, and they get to experience it and talk about it, and then sort of take everything they can from that culture and put it in their lives. And she's always sort of joking with a wink and a nod in every episode. Maybe the microphone she uses is in the shape of a cucumber when she talks into it or whatever. It's like the whole show has to be, I wish I was that, where almost sort of, not her children, but aimed at a younger audience about imagination is okay, because you never want to quell that, but you're just not allowed to like pretend you're the thing that you might steal. Thank you. Yeah, you're not allowed to steal.
The subject is going to go back to Boise, Idaho, and like continue their life after they go to like.
Sure,
like,
bring the culture back to where you're from, and maybe that's what the show is. It's a little Shark Tanky, where you're just taking the experience. How do I bring Ethiopian cuisine back to Boise, Idaho? I'm not going to pretend I'm Ethiopian, but I'm in love with the culture. I'm going to immerse myself and then bring it back and get people to experience a new culture. I wish I was that. Well, you're not.
Yeah, I wish I was that within reason.
When they first were like, you're not Spanish, she would have been like, I love Spain. I love this culture. It's amazing. I've been introduced to it my whole life. Like, I just love it. It's a huge part of who I am. Like, all this goes out the window. But I don't think that she could have, because her husband thought that she was Spanish. And I think that's what hindered us from the beginning.
What Deanna was saying before about wanting to know what was that moment, it was probably a very slow burn with her. I mean, I think that there was the moment I want to know was the panic moment where she's like, I can't turn this around now. I cannot go to the public and say, this is what's happened. And I think the 1-2 punch of Cucumber and Alec imitating her was sort of like, we're screwed. Like, how do I even apologize for this now?
First of all, you may want to put a little note in that says like, take a shot every time we say cucumber, because we have said it, guys. There is like, I'll never stop saying cucumber. Like, I will never, because wow,
I'm going to say cucumber every time I'm supposed to say cucumber, and I will immediately and publicly apologize for saying it that way. Yeah, which is what she should have done.
Just to get ahead of it.
So, Deanna, who wins?
Oh, Lord. Guys, this is thrilling. So, wow, would it be refreshing for, like Dominick said, for her to just come out and say, oops, I did it again, and I made a mistake. And you know what? I am just so crazy for this culture, guys, that I let it get ahead of me and out of control. The best of me. I let it get the best of me. It went like wildflower. And I got to tell you, but the idea of them all going to Spain is fun. I like the reality show. I really do. I feel it would be helpful for us to see, and I do want the numbers. Did 40 people actually come from Spain to their wedding? Like, I don't even believe that, but okay. There are people that came. They had to have, So I think it was 10. That's my feeling. based
Copy.
on no facts. I don't think it was 40. I don't think she can ever control herself. I feel everything has to be pushed. But I think it would be helpful to see like, oh, wow, she is crazy for this culture. And I have a sense of why she went so hard in this direction, whether it be right, wrong, or whatever. So I'm interested in the reality show. I would watch. I also think Alec, it would be fun to see him because he doesn't know like a Spanish, I have to imagine.
No, not a one.
And so just seeing him in that arena would be fun. And, it could be a nice reality show.
It could. I mean, it actually sounds like it would help him as well too.
Yeah.
That might be what
I
he
think
needs.
they both need it. I think they also both need like a reset. They both need a vacation. It's been a rough year. They are now fused. When her storyline came out, I was like, oh, he's gone, baby, gone. I thought he was so gone, guys. I was like, there's no way. Because Alec Baldwin, he's a very intelligent man.
Oh, yes.
He's very well, he can spit game. That's the crazy part. I think he loved it. He loved being the Lucy to her Ricky. And it felt good to him. He loved it. And so he's been played. It's goofy. But there's 1 million children. They're in too deep. And now with this horrible onset shooting and killing of a beautiful DP, which is just like breathtaking. The whole thing is breathtaking. They are fused for life. They will go down, go up, go down, go sideways, spin around together because that's that. Do you agree?
100%. They now need each other. Like it's very much like a host virus situation, and I'm not sure which one is which in that scenario.
It probably changes.
He's about to be a grandfather, by the way. Remember his eldest daughter, Ireland, who he has with Kim Basinger, is very pregnant. So he's about to be a grandfather, which to me, all I then want is for Hilaria to have one more kid because I love when an uncle is younger than their niece or nephew.
Love that.
Well, I got my husband is an uncle younger. There's a 20-year age difference between his sister and him. So he's an older uncle. And
oh my God.
I love that. I always love that.
A younger uncle.
I'm sorry. He is no. Okay, he's not quite that. His nieces and nephews are a few years younger.
So it sounds like I won.
I think you won, Chris, just because I think it's actually the more possible path. Based on what she said in her statement.
Her multi-post.
Her multi-post, she's not ever gonna do that. Pipe dream that Dominick has is just not happening.
I only do pipe dreams, Deanna. I'm sorry. It's the only every time someone comes on, it's like, well, Chris's is actually doable, and Dominick's is from the planet not gonna fucking happen. But you know what? I love that planet.
Yeah, that's a nice planet.
Okay. All right. Deanna, where can people find you?
Oh my goodness. Well, you can find me if you'd like to find me after this. I can't tell if I'm on the right side of the law or not. I don't know. I don't know how I did. But you can find me at Deanna M. Cheng and at the Montage Queen.
Dom, where can people find you?
Oh, they can go to my website, which is domandterry.com, or Dominick Pupa on Linktree, which will bring you everywhere.
You can find me at the DeRosa. Please like and subscribe to the show and write a review and let us know who you want us to fix next. I think we fixed it. We're going
You're
to
welcome,
send
Hilaria.
this. Yeah, we're going to send this right off to Hilaria and Alec. Deanna, thank you so much for being here. And where's Shelly? Goodbye.